So, if I had a scanner, say, that could pinpoint the location of that portal, that would be of use?
Yeah, we got problems.
What?
It's your brother, Keith. Something's not right about him.
That the guy?
Luthor says that's the guy.
What's my reason for helping you?
Why'd you come back here?
Freeze everyone now! Get back, you kids!
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 7 video. They released some footage from it, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes because things are getting wild really fast. Like the fact that they just found out that they're on Earth X in the other dimension is just the beginning. Now everybody's asking about Nazi Superman. Who are the Nazi versions of the Justice League? They kind of got into this during the Arrowverse Crisis on Earth X. There are Nazi versions of all those characters on this Earth. I know there are a lot of questions about who's showing up, who are the big cameos in the next 2 episodes, just because James Gunn has been teasing that Lex Luthor showing up in the recent episode is just the beginning. That might not be the only big Superman crossover. There's still supposed to be a couple big people showing up that they have not officially announced, but that have been talked about quite a bit for the last couple of weeks. It doesn't seem like there's that big of a time jump when the episode actually picks up after everybody was getting their ass handed to them at the end of episode 6. But the way they cut this trailer, it's out of order, so it's not the actual order the scenes happen in the episode. But you see Keith come back to their home and talk to their father, Augie. And remember, he's just taken Economos down. Economos absolutely flipped and just completely told him all their secrets about what was going on with the other dimension, which he perked up about. Like, he got really curious about, like, what is going on with this other dimension stuff. This is why you see him talking to Keith, saying, something is wrong with your brother, something is off, because he's connecting the dots in his head. It seems like he's figured it out. You remember, they actually revealed that he's meant to be super dumb on the show. I'm assuming that the other universe, Earth X, like the Nazi version, is just as dumb as the one in the DCEU. So it probably still takes them a couple moments at the beginning of the episode to figure out that this version of Peacemaker is not his actual brother, not his actual son. Then there's the next big Lex Luthor follow-up to his scene. A lot of people were asking questions about this in the comments on my last video. When Rick Flag and Sasha Bordeaux are walking through the warehouse and she says, is this the guy? And he says, yes, this is Luthor's guy. And you see him from off screen here, and he's wearing this prison uniform, like you see the handcuffs come off of him. It's actually meant to be Sidney Happerstein, not a version of Superman. There were some people that thought that Henry Cavill was in the trailer. I think this is who they were thinking they were saying. No, this is not Henry Cavill. This is actually meant to be Stephen Blackheart's character, Sidney Happerstein. He was the chief scientist, or one of the chief scientists working for Lex Luthor during the Superman movie. You can actually hear his voice in the trailer. It sounds exactly like Sidney Happerstein in the Superman movie.
Luthor says that's the guy.
What's my reason for helping you?
He does. He's been studying him for years.
You also notice that they're inside of the wreckage of Lex Luthor's Luthor Corp office that he turned into his special weapons room, control room that he was using to control the pocket dimension and all of his other technology. It also flew. That's another big question too. Like, why would he purposely build that to fly? Like, did he plan for a situation like what happened during the events of the Superman movie? Like, oh, I'll need this to fly at some point, so we'll just build in some of the jets to it. It's probably just the idea that Lex Luthor anticipates a number of different possible outcomes, and he just plans for that when he builds all of his tech. So part of the idea is that Sidney Happerstein, who operated the pocket dimension technology in the Superman movie, is just going to come back and do that again with the same consoles inside that same room, that same control room, for Rick Flag and Argus to find Peacemaker's pocket dimension. When you rewatch that Lex Luthor scene too, and you hear him listening to Rick Flag, like, why is it so important for you to find this Peacemaker guy? Why do you care about his pocket dimension? He actually perked up when Rick Flag told him he can actually move it around anywhere he wants. Lex Luthor seemed like he actually wanted to get his hands on this. Like, oh, that's interesting. I actually want to get my hands on that. There are a lot of people that also thought that because Sasha Bordeaux was acting so sus in the previous episodes, seeming like she was honeypotting Rick Flag, was she trying to take his job, or was she working for somebody else inside the DCU? Is it possible she's working for Bruce Wayne, or is she working for Lex Luthor? James Gunn has not really addressed any of this in any of his podcasts. He talks about a lot of stuff, but there are like a couple big things that he just does not get to. He actually did say that there were more direct teasers for the Man of Tomorrow movie during the last couple of episodes of Peacemaker, especially in the final moments of Peacemaker's finale. So for those of you that thought that you saw Superman in this trailer, I don't think that that's the case. I don't think Superman is anywhere in this particular trailer for episode 7, but I do think there's a pretty solid chance that David Corenswet's Superman, DCEU's Superman, actually does show up in that final episode as part of a Lex Luthor teaser into Man of Tomorrow.
See you for the next one.
Some of you in the comments on my last video had actually realized this. A lot of the reason for the direct Superman crossovers with the Superman characters like the Justice Gang characters Maxwell, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, now Lex Luthor, happened because they were filming Peacemaker Season 2 episodes at the exact same time right next to where they were filming the Superman movie. So all the actors were like literally right next door to each other, and it was super easy to cameo them. He even said that the Lex Luthor scene with his cameo in last week's episode was the very first thing that they ever shot for Peacemaker Season 2. It was happening at the same time that they were filming the Planet Watch scenes with Lex Luthor at the United Nations during the events of the Superman movie. There's a lot of other Man of Tomorrow teasers that they bake into that Lex Luthor cameo scene. I'll do a separate Man of Tomorrow video at some point in the next couple of days just because there's so much going on. Probably one of the biggest criticisms of the show after the season is done, depending on how the last couple of episodes go, is that they loaded all the good stuff in the last couple of episodes, and a lot of the middle episodes, even some of the early episodes, felt like a little bit of filler. But next in the trailer, you see Peacemaker with DCEU Harcourt on the Peace Cycle driving away. Notice she's resting her head on his shoulders, like they've slowly started to come together a little bit, like they're kind of making it because they've been more honest with each other about their feelings. It also kind of seems like they're in the middle of an escape here, because you remember the way their scene ended with them trying to arrest the other Harcourt from the DCU. Like, get her, she's not me. Then we see the police catch up with him, his father, his brother, and they question him, why did you come back? I think the idea is they ask him, if you're not our Chris, why did you keep coming back to our dimension? Even though this is meant to be a big action scene, they try to bake a lot of drama into this too. The way that James Gunn called this season compared to Peacemaker Season 1 is that Peacemaker Season 2 is more like a Chris Smith season, like it's more about him emotionally, his emotional journey. You also have to imagine him talking to the other 11th Street Kids gang, explaining why he didn't notice that this was the Nazi dimension. How could you be that dumb and that thick that you didn't notice sooner? Then it seems like one or both of the vigilantes help Adebayo escape from that giant horde. Like at some point she's able to get away, and then she, Harcourt, and the others are able to make it back into the pocket dimension, so they are able to escape at a certain point. You can also see Judo Master in the background inside the pocket dimension with them, so maybe he also helps them escape and get back to the pocket dimension in this. Kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation, because they'd also hate him in the Nazi dimension as well too, because he's a minority. When you see Harcourt spin around and fire her gun at somebody up in the air, it might be Keith. The idea, I think, is that they want to tease Peacemaker is going to have to kill his brother and his father again in this other universe. Part of the drama being he was so happy to find them alive in this loving relationship with them in the other dimension. Then everything went down the tubes, and now he's forced to kill them again. How tragic is that? So maybe part of the idea is that they threatened to make it back into the DCU. So like they don't want the Nazi dimension to spill over into the DCU. This was kind of a thing during the Flash Crisis on Earth X crossover episodes, where at a certain point their dimension was threatening to take over the Arrowverse dimension. We are probably not totally done with that other dimension because there's still 2 more episodes, and this seems like it happens towards the end of episode 7, so we will see how they wrap things up in the finale. There was also other footage of the Argus people in hazmat suits trying to destroy the portals to the other 99 different dimensions inside this pocket dimension, so at a certain point, Argus will make it inside this pocket space. Probably one of the other biggest questions, especially for the end of the season, is does anybody else get their hands on the key to the pocket dimension? Does Lex Luthor get his hands on that? The only other way for them to resolve that whole storyline so this isn't a thing during the events of a season 3 or future movies is if they destroy the key itself. When it actually comes to the other big characters like Justice League characters inside Earth X or like this other dimension, James Gunn hasn't fully explained every single person, but there is a version of Earth X in the comics. They based the Arrowverse version on the comic book version. There is a version of Nazi Superman, a Nazi version of the Justice League. There is meant to be an evil version of everyone like you would see on Earth 3 with the crime syndicate versions of all the characters. There are also a lot of people that are like, what if Henry Cavill is the evil Superman on this earth? I don't think that James Gunn would go for a pull like that unless it was going to be a much bigger thing. He did say that he would bring Henry Cavill back at some point, but he didn't say which character he would play or like when that would be. So I wouldn't hold your breath for that happening too soon. Henry Cavill has also been very busy filming movies like his Highlander movie, his live-action Voltron movie, working on his Warhammer TV series for like the past year, when they would have been filming the Superman movie and filming Peacemaker Season 2. So like he just wouldn't have time to do stuff like that anyway. Streets are also saying that we might get some more DCEU cameos, canonizing them officially to the DCU, because James Gunn has said that a number of actors that we haven't seen yet from the DCEU will come back as their characters in the DCU. There's a bunch of stuff going on during here. My full episode 7 video will post after they release it next week, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that, and my Man of Tomorrow video should post in the next couple of days too. Everybody click here for my full Peacemaker episode 6 video, and click here for all my other DC videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.